Hey artists, welcome to my studio. I wanted to show you this idea right in advance, just like jump right in. The idea is we're going to cultivate our style using grids. These grids have been like a lifesaver for me, being able to work out things like color, composition, and design, playing with ideas, testing out ways in which we can create so that not everything has to be some big giant work of art. And since you all really love these art journals, I know it's the easiest way to play. And I just wanted to show you what I've been working on for the last few years. I have been working on practicing different lessons, colors, compositions, ways in which I would want to continue to create my different ideas. Using collage, paint, any elements that you're really interested in. Here's a really nice color study that I did. So what I want to work on with you today is the idea of doing one of these little grids, and that way we can take the idea of cultivating our style, our voice, and do it on a mini scale. It's really quite appropriate right now since I'm right in the middle of the Virtual Art Summit. And the Virtual Art Summit is all about expressing yourself, finding your voice, finding your style so that you can be more you. For this project, I'm using magazine pages, just organized here in colors. We've got, a lot of neutral forms of yellow, green, blue, and of course my favorite, pinkish colors. Pens, glue stick, scissors, that's about it. How do you make that grid? Taking all your time to measure out? Nope, we're gonna just get in here real quick and make a grid using whatever squares you have on hand. These are little mini post-it notes, and I just go ahead and eyeball it and make myself a nice grid. The key secrets to making a grid is just get it done. Just make some marks, make your squares, and let's get going. And use a few supplies, not everything you have on hand, because when you use everything, it's harder to make decisions. And this is a key to really kind of cultivating your voice, is limit down all of the options down to just a few things. Today, I'm really into this idea of automatic drawing and making some marks and just seeing what happens. So I'll go through in a project like this and just kind of see what my hand wants to do. Maybe we need to go a different direction. And some of this will get covered up, some of it might show. The idea is to just let yourself kind of be free. If you're more of somebody who likes to draw and be exact, you can be exact and draw however it comes out. But for me, as an abstract artist, I really love to just kind of like see what kind of marks my hand wants to make. Not everything needs to be in order. Move about. Just fill in these pages and see what your hand does. What does your hand do? When was the last time you were able to scribble like a child? So I just gave you permission. Just make a few marks, see what happens. And then before you go to cover up the next steps, reflect on what did you enjoy? What parts were interesting to you? For example, whatever I was doing here that I kind of like focused in on a few darker spots next to the scribbles, really loved that. I love all the little marks I made here. It's just like, what is the pleasure, and then what visually appeals to you? Now we're going to start building on top of that. And of course, this is a super simple project because all we're doing is taking what you have on hand already. Like I did this while I was on the road. All I really wanted was a chance to make art while I was on the go, and I had nothing with me. So all I did was stop by the convenience store, the drugstore, and pick up a couple of magazines, and next thing you know, I was creating. Here's the key though, when you get your magazine, you pick some colors that kind of coordinate well together. And we're going to work our way around the page. What appeals to you? This is another part of the project, is seeing what colors appeal to you, what shapes appeal to you. Where does your, what interests do you have while you're creating? This is how you cultivate your voice. You cultivate good habits in creating for yourself without overthinking it. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm taking these bits and pieces. Some will be torn. Some are from, furniture magazines. I like this kind of golden yellow, but look at how interesting this little piece is here with the dark end. How do I want to see that show up? Yes, I do like to make sure that it fits right up there in that square. If it goes over, don't really mind too much, but this is kind of the fun of it, is keeping these little mini compositions going. Look at that, some fancy wallpaper, perfect for this. Well, I don't want to repeat, because part of my process is making sure that I'm creating interesting compositions, but also the entire grid ends up looking like a beautiful composition in and of itself. So that's what I'm playing with right now. What do I want to go with the yellow? So in an ideal world, you would probably want to use complementary colors. That's a really beautiful yellow in that archway. I'm going to put that to the side. And I'm just going to grab something that I feel like really goes with this. I think this dark blue, bluish green. That's really gorgeous. So, these are just collections of pieces that I found in a really beautiful magazine that you can, play with. You can create your own. Sometimes I create my own pieces. I really like this. Use the jelly plate. Whatever it is that you have on hand, it works great. But, if you're just like in a pinch and having a dire creative moment, this is how you do it. I really want this piece in here, so I'm just going to go ahead and put this here. That's a major focal point now. But I also have these other pieces, so if I want to go ahead and continue on with that color story, it'll work just fine. We can already tell these colors go great together because you've already got some of that really rich buttery yellow mixed to that cool blue, that kind of greenish blue. So I'm going to start playing with that. I don't know if I really want that pattern in it, but let's play with what we have and start pulling out bits of it. I save these little scraps. I'll keep like a file on hand of bits and pieces that I really enjoy, and then come back and use them again and again until I get bored with those scraps and I'm ready to move on to the next thing. That's a really cool piece right there. So you can get this as intricate as you want. You could create entire stories of collage, or you can keep it abstract like I'm doing. Really, this is about you exploring your voice, and that's kind of the secret to it. That's a little too pretty for me. So what I'm going to do is just rip it and then find a home for it. Do I like it there? The key, I believe, is to not overthink it. We don't need to fill up the whole page. We just need a few bits in each little square to tell our story and figure out what appeals to us. As you can see now, I'm working my way through the last little bits of this project. What I'm trying to accomplish is an overall pleasing look of the grid, but also nice compositions for each and every one of the squares. So something that pleases the eye with a combination of the marks, the colors, the shapes, the way that they're placed. As you can see, I'm not filling in the whole thing. Some pieces are more interesting to me than others, but overall, the whole point of creating this whole grid like this with just magazine scraps and a pen is that we're really kind of playing with ideas and looking towards the next project, maybe picking one out of this grid. Like, I love the way these little bits of color mixed with those circular motions. I could see myself working on something larger using that, or even the colors of that pale yellow there with the deep and then these little stripes. Each thing is like a little surprise to be seen with your eyes. You know, at this point, you might want to go back in and add some more details. That's up to you. Or you can just leave it and move on to the next one because there's always more grids to be had. There's just all collage filling in the space using some papers that I've bought, and some magazine pieces. And sometimes they just like have that nice pow. Color pink, always my favorite. Florals is a good tester, but I'm finding that I really love the way I'm going with the collage elements and abstract. So I encourage you to cultivate your voice, to cultivate your style, and cultivate a habit of creation, because you just never know where you're going to end up when you play like this. Well, hello. I figured I'd just pop in here really quick and introduce myself. I'm Kelly. Have we met before? I am, much like you, a multi-passionate artist, author, creative coach, all-around entrepreneur. And I figured right now, since I'm in the midst of the Virtual Art Summit, I would focus in on the subject of cultivating your voice as an artist. And that's why we're working on the project that we're working on. It's very important to me to help encourage artists to find their own way through creating rather than always having to follow a lesson rule by rule. I want you to break out and do your own thing. I want you to discover what lights you up and figure out how you're going to make your mark. That's what this is all about. Look, join me over at the Virtual Art Summit. Just go to virtualartsummit.com and you'll be able to register. You can choose pay what you can, $0 if that's all that you can afford right now, or $95 and keep it forever. Look, it is the best. 16 artists giving you, hands down, the best advice ever and some instruction on how to paint your wildest, best, and most authentic style right now. Go on, virtualartsummit.com. See you soon. Bye.